Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And before we get into this story, I just want to say something shady is happening with YouTube, and I've lost a lot of subscribers very so quickly. When I've looked down all the videos, they're not coming off. It's not people looking at the videos and unsubscribing. It just seems to be something to do with the way that they're counting subscribers now. I don't know. But in order to keep the channel growing, in order to keep pushing the truth out there, can I ask anyone who's a regular viewer who's yet to subscribe, do please hit the button, help the channel grow, but also it improves on the algorithm. It means that more people see the truth. So if you are a regular viewer, do please hit that subscribe button. If you're a new viewer, definitely hit the subscribe button and come and join us as we search for the truth of the SNP and Scottish politics in general, because it is really quite shady. Anyway, we're going to take a look here, talking of shady, we're going to take a look here at basically the lies of the SNP. Certainly the hypocrisy again. They claimed that they were going to go, as part of their 2015 election pledge, that when they got this huge pay rise of about £7,000 a year, they were going to donate all or most of it to charity. How many SNP MPs do you think have signed up to give money to charity out of their wage packet? No, you're wrong. It's one. Because you're all going to say none, weren't you? One has. They haven't said who the one is because, confidentiality. But it does go to show that they are a bunch of mean-spirited hypocrites, aren't they? Let's have a look. So, only one single SNP MP gives to charity directly from their £86,500 a year salary, despite a 2015 pledge. Well, of course, promises in the SNP, promises are like pie crusts. They're made to be broken. Back in 2015, Angus Robertson and Nicola Sturgeon said it's not right for their MPs to get a £7,000 pay rise and announced that they would be giving it to charity. 8 years later, only one is doing so using Westminster's tax-free giving programme. What that basically means is if you give let's say you're going to give £3,000 a year out of your salary. So what they do is they take it out of the top, right at the top. So you're not paying tax on it. You earn slightly less. You're not paying as much tax. I mean, you're not getting as much, but you're not. It cuts your tax bill on what you're getting. But it also means that money comes off before tax is applied. And so when they give that to charity, the charities actually get the tax that would have been taken because they're not being taken. So for every £1,000 you give, the charities get £1,200. So if you give them 3,000, the charities are getting 3,600 quid. And it's just a very tax efficient way of giving. And so they pledged that they would give, a lot of money to charity. That's what they said. All the MPs, all the SNP MPs would do this. And how many are doing it? One. They really are mean, aren't they? They're mean, they're frugal, they're miserly, they're grasping. They talk, they say they're going to do this, and they don't do it. Because, me, give me the cash, make my stash. Only one SNP MP has chosen to engage with the Give As You Earn programme at Westminster. It can be revealed. This is despite a long-standing pledge to donate up to £7,000 a year from their wages to charity. In July 15, the Nat MPs were instructed by the party's then leadership duo, Nicola Sturgeon and Angus Robertson, to forgo their inflation-busting 10% pay rise and instead donate it to charity. Yeah, they donated it into their own bank accounts. Because that's who they are. They won't do anything to help humanity because they have no humanity inside them at all, do they? Mr. Robertson, who was then the Commons leader and is now the External Affairs Secretary at Holyrood, make of that what you will, said at the time, now is a time of austerity and huge financial difficulties for far too many people, and it is not right for MPs to have a pay rise in these circumstances. Well, but that's how it works, Anyway, of the 56 Nat MP, I don't like it either. I don't think they should have got that big a pay rise. But anyway, of the 56 Nat MPs in post at the time, some 33 are still serving MPs at the moment, although a handful lost their seats in 2017 and were re-elected 2 years later. But despite this, only one one has signed up to the Give As You Earn programme, because the rest of them are greedy, grasping, tight-fisted tossers, aren't they? A Freedom of Information request to the Independent Parliament Standards Authority, which regulates MPs' salaries and expenses, revealed that only 13 MPs across the whole of Parliament are registered to Give As You Earn. All these 650 MPs, only 13 signed up. They should be ashamed of themselves. Well done to the ones that have signed up. You know, giving a little back. I don't object to that. Well done to you. But everyone else, the 637 others, should be holding their heads down in shame. Of the 13, 8 are Conservatives and 2 are Labour. Now that tells you, I would be very surprised with that. Who thought the Conservatives would be more generous to charities than Labour? Labour are the ones, surely, that are the virtuous ones. They're the ones that always say they are the best, and they're the ones that care more. And yet they are just effectively as tight-fisted as the SNP. And indeed, if you look as a ratio of their numbers, Labour are actually even more tight-fisted than the SNP. Anyway, the spokesman for IPSA said, there are, of course, many different ways of donating to charity, and we would not necessarily know if an MP was making donations to charity once they'd received their salary. Yes, I agree. But for most tax-efficient way, for both sides, the Give As You Earn is there. They're not taking advantage of it. The basic annual salary of an MP is currently £86,584, almost £20,000 higher than when the SNP first pledged to give their pay rise to charity. At the time, Sir Ian Kennedy, who was then IPSA's chairman, described the rise from 67 to 74 as a one-off adjustment to make up for previous pay restraint. Now, it does seem a lot, but when you look at what is earned at sort of comparable levels, it's actually not that high. For an MP, it's not actually not tremendously high for the level of responsibility. It's about the going rate. It looks high if you're not anywhere near it, but actually it's about the going rate. And remember, a lot of that will be taxed. Donations through the Give As You Earn scheme are taken from pre-tax pay, making it tax effective. Philippa Cornish, head of corporate clients at the Charities Aid Foundation, explains employees can set up GAY to give up charitable donations directly from their wages to charities of their choice. She said payroll giving works in a similar way to salary sacrifice and saves the charity administrative costs, since they don't need to claim back their tax paid through gift aid, because that's already included in the donation. So as I say, you give £1,000, they get £1,200, and they don't have to do anything about it. It's just £1,200 straight into their bank account, and that's it. It's been estimated that about 80% of UK companies offer payroll giving, and around 4% of UK employees use it. That's quite a lot, isn't it? I mean, in terms of sheer numbers, that's an awful lot of people. However, the figures show that only 2% of the UK's 650 MPs are signed up, much, I think, to their shame. Nicola Sykes, Policy and Communications Director at Pro Bono Economics, said last year, currently, payroll given is a chronically underutilised form of tax relief, which has seen very little change in annual donations in recent years. Now, I have to do my own tax returns every year, and I do include my charity giving. It's not as much as I could have done in the past, but I do a little bit to a couple of charities of my choice. So I just put in there, and I get a little bit of tax rebate on that. Not much, tenner, something like that, 20 quid, I think it is, something. But it's there. But the charity gets the money, and it gets the money plus the relief. So yeah, don't care. That's how I do it. And I think everyone should give a tiny, if they can afford it. Not if you can't afford it, don't. But if you can afford it, give us, give something, a little thing, because it may not mean much to you. Tenner here, fiver there, but en masse, when it comes in from a lot of people, these charities rely on it, and these charities sometimes do. Now, good charities, they deserve it. They do a lot. When you look at things like the RSPCA, where you've got like dozens of directors and that on 100,000 a year salaries, or charities where something like 60 or 70% of the money received goes on administration, don't give a penny to them. Go give to the 5%, what's known as the 5% charities, and that's where no more than 5% of money received goes in form of administration costs. It means that virtually everything is going to the work it's doing. Here endeth the lesson. Anyway, I shall round off there. I shall come up and we shall move on to the next video in a minute because there's a lot to get through today. Anyway, here we go. So they are really a lot of mean-spirited people, aren't they? But having made a pledge, I mean, I just can't understand how you can stand there and make that pledge, then not follow up on it. And now, of course, only that one of them, just one of their number, that they've of this party that's made this pledge to do it, has actually done it. He knows, or she knows, who he or she is. So that person who currently has that in place within the party knows that they are the only one, and therefore can look at everyone else in the Parliament who's in the SNP, and look around them and think they're all mean, tight bastards. It's another little split in the party, isn't it? But if you're going to do it, if you're going to make a promise, stick by your promises. God almighty, they are just so greedy, aren't they? It's all about me, me, me. Anyway, I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this has been enlightening. It just goes to show, though, that you can't trust them, can you? Couldn't trust them as far as you could comfortably spit a rat. Anyway, till next time, stay safe, stay well, and do please be generous if you can afford it. But don't put yourself out if you can't. Times are hard. Especially if you're on £86,500 a year. Bye.